I have discovered the holy grail of lean startups, a way to generate millions of dollars a year in recurring revenue with 0 employees. And as an entrepreneur who really champions this concept of minimalist businesses, I could not be more excited for today's episode because I have brought on Amos Bar Joseph. He's the CEO of Swan AI, a company that is rapidly scaling to $30 million a year in annual recurring revenue with just 3 founders and 0 employees. So whether you're starting a business, you're trying to scale, or if you're just a business owner who wants to 100x the value of every employee in your company, you are going to want to watch every second of this episode because we're going to break it all down. Amos, welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Jason, for having me. It's my pleasure.
Well, I got to tell you, I have been excited for this interview since you agreed to be on the show because what you are doing, you can call it the Holy Grail, I guess, the golden road, but as somebody who is a real advocate for minimalist businesses, you're doing something that I could only dream of 5 years ago. You know, and I've been running my own kind of solo business for the last roughly 8 years or so. And what you're doing now, the capabilities that are now available with agents and the stuff that you're building is unlike anything that I've ever seen. And I'm excited to sort of tear into it with you.
Yeah, so you really, put the nail on its head at the beginning of the call, Jason, because 5 years ago, this, wasn't possible, basically, to scale like we do at Swann. And just, for context here for the listeners, our mission at Swann is basically to get the $30 million ARR with just the 3 founders and AI agents, already serving hundreds of businesses, basically, as our customers, and scaling super fast. And it wasn't possible because until now, you couldn't scale with intelligence. You must have scaled with headcount, basically. Mm-hmm. And what we believe is that there's a new model for scaling a business that is emerging, what we call the autonomous business. Jason, it's a different playbook on how to scale a company, and I hope that we're going to get a chance to actually deep dive into it in this session. And just on a quick note here, what it means is that the future belongs to SMBs, basically. Small is the new big, and finally, small and medium businesses can fight the biggest competitors in their category because headcount becomes a disadvantage, becomes bloat, and intelligence and the ability to scale with human AI collaboration, that's the only thing that matters from 2025 and onwards.
No, I couldn't agree more. And that's actually where we're going to start because I think that's the best way to sort of tee up what we're going to look at in your kind of your workflows and your processes is you, and this may be what interests me most about you, is the fundamental philosophy that you preach that says we need to completely reimagine what business operation systems look like and the collaboration between human and AI in that process, right? And so when we talked previously, right before the show started, I said, what are you automating? And you made a clear distinction to me. You said, we're not automating anything. And so can you speak a little bit to that philosophy? And more importantly, because a lot of these systems don't exist, you're building right now, you're building this essentially. What is the fundamental shift in perspective that business owners need to have to start thinking in terms of AI human collaboration rather than just automation?
Yeah, amazing. I love the question, Jason. So, unfortunately, the dialogue today around AI revolves around fear, basically. Fear of being automated away, fear of being replaced. And what we're always discussing is like, who will get replaced, who will not get replaced. And what we realized at Swann early on that really sets us apart from a lot of, people out there using AI is that, this value proposition of cheap labor that has poor quality, it's been existed for decades. It's nothing new under the sun. And, trying to get like a 20% delta on your existing workflows by using AI, that's nice to have. That's not something that you can really, grow super fast with or change your dynamics completely. And so what we realize is that, building an autonomous business is not about, cheap labor. It's not about digital labor. It's not about hiring, AI agents instead of humans. It's not about that. We are actually on a journey to discover the 100x version of ourselves. Okay, and so, the different perspective that we have on AI is that it's never about automating something away. It's always about empowering a specific person. At every AI implementation, there's a person at the center, at the heart of the implementation. There isn't a process to automate. There is a person to empower. And so we try to imagine what will look like the 100x seller, the 100x product, the 100x engineer, but in the context of our unique business. Not like an off-the-shelf AI engineer that we could hire or an off-the-shelf AI SDR that could generate pipeline from the sky from us. We actually look at ourselves internally. We ask, okay, Amos, I'm the only one who's actually doing, go-to-market. So how can we build an AI agent strategy around me that could take my strength and amplify them, and take my weaknesses and cover me for that? So it's built around a human being. So that's fundamentally different. And when you redesign your entire organization around that philosophy, then you discover a new type of an operating system.
Yeah, got it. And I love the philosophy. I think it's a great, it's a nuanced perspective shift, but it's a critical one. I think as we start to expand, that business owners start thinking about it like that. So who do I have on the team currently, or who's in charge of X, like your go-to-market strategy? Who's in charge of back-end support? And then how do I empower that person to be able to perform at 100x their current capacity just by building so you're talking about building custom agents for individuals inside of the team, yes?
So right now, that might be the logical conclusion of it. But what we believe at Swann, and our product is built around that thesis as well, is that we're transitioning from an era where SaaS companies build features for use cases. We're actually transitioning, the LLM revolution is transitioning the business world into an era where AI agents are building solutions for you. So we're moving from there's an app for this, that's what we had with SaaS. SaaS built features for this use case, to there's an app for me, basically. And AI agent revolution is all about customization. It's all about personalization. It's all about the fact that I can finally have a tech stack that, instead of me trying to bend my business around my tech stack bends around my business. And so that's our design philosophy around building Swann as an AI agent for go-to-market teams. And it's also how we believe that the world is transitioning into. But at that interim that we are at right now, Jason, there is still some customization work to do, some way of building that internally. And if that's interesting for you or the listeners, we can talk about how you can build that muscle internally to start being proactive about making your business more autonomous.
Yeah, I want to dig into that, but before we get to that, you talked a little bit earlier about, hey, our goal is to build a $30 million ARR company with just 3 founders. And I'll admit, when I first heard that, I thought, oh, well, that's a cute gimmick, right? That's a nice, that'll attract people and get people interested in coming and looking at what I'm doing. But what is Swann? What was the problem you were solving for when you decided to build? Because I'm assuming it wasn't to build, oh, we're going to build a $30 million ARR company, and there's solving what problem? Like, how are we going to do it?
Yeah, so it's my third rodeo, actually. So I've built, and scaled and sold 2 companies before in the old unicorn playbook, what you may call. When you raise big, you become a bloated team very early on, and you try to brute force your way into scale. And when I started this company, we looked at the go-to-market space, and we saw all these AI SDRs and all these solutions out there that are trying to use AI for the benefit of helping go-to-market teams, generate more pipeline, more revenue. And we looked at it, we say, how is it that everyone is building in that space? So many VC dollars are poured into it, but go-to-market teams are still, having difficulty generating pipelines, still having trouble. That's still a huge challenge. How is that possible? And what we realized is that, when we look at SMBs, that was our specific, segment that we actually targeted and are targeting today. For SMBs, they are lacking, the engineering, the RevOps resources internally to actually take these tools and make the most out of them. And all of these tools are kind of like asking these businesses to try to make that effort around their tooling to make the most out of it, but they don't have these resources. And so they end up with, very bad outcomes, very bad products, very bad AI implementations, etc. And the promise of AI saving their pipeline is undelivered. And what we realize is, going back to this concept of, moving from there's an app for this to there's an app for me. What these SMBs require is not AI SDRs. It's actually what we call AI go-to-market engineers. They need engineering resources so they could help them build agentic motions that they can run at the speed of thought, basically. And so Swann is more like, if you're familiar with Lovable or all these AI engineering apps. So Swann is like Lovable for go-to-market teams. We give SMBs the superpower to turn any go-to-market idea into an agentic workflow from prompt to pipeline in seconds. And what we eliminate is all that, customization work that is required to take, your tech stack and try to bend your business around it. Finally, you have an AI agent that can build the tech stack around your business.
And you guys are delivering this AI agent in second, is there, how much customization is going into the builds that you're doing for the businesses that are hiring you?
Yeah, so they don't hire us, they hire Swann. Swann is that engineering resource. Swann lives in Slack. It's a Slack app that you connect to your workspace, and then you can chat with Swann like you chat with ChatGPT. You chat with Swann. Swann has access to your CRM. It has access to our own LinkedIn automation and email automation. It has access to B2B data that we already bought and have relationships with. And it has access to AI applications, what we call like personalization, research, qualification, segmentation, scoring, qualification, all of this types of AI applications, what we call. And you can chat with Swann in Slack and tell it, go to my CRM. I have, a list of webinar attendees, for example. So research them, qualify them, and send, personalized LinkedIn DMs to only the folks that were qualified. We have an inbound motion. I want you to research, the folks that request a demo. If they are in this segment, route it to that team. If that this segment, route it to this team. We have website visitors coming to our site. I want you to de-anonymize them, research them, qualifying them. If it's that segment, do that. Find the buying committee, reach out to all the buying committee, etc. You just work like you build an app in Lovable. You just chat with the agent who builds it for you. You can build an agentic motion with Swann in Slack.
Can you show me how it works? Because I think that'll help get everybody who's watching they can wrap their head around exactly what you're talking about. Because that's pretty incredible. So essentially, they're just taking Swann and they're connecting it up with their Slack, and they're communicating with it like they would any other employee, and that Swann is feeding them the questions or whatever they need to be asking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we can definitely look at all these AI agents that we built with Swann, and I can take you kind of like through all these amazing use cases that we're building with Swann, and that will be like a super interesting way to actually look at it, Jason.
Yeah,
what do you say about that?
Yeah, let's
awesome.
dig in.
So the way that it's actually built is that we looked at myself and asked, how can we build an AI agent army around, me, right? And so it all started with, what's my passion, basically, okay? My passion lies in storytelling. I love to tell stories. I love to write content, and I have a pretty good LinkedIn game. And so we realized that we could build, these agents around my LinkedIn game. And what happened is that like every layer started to unfold the next one. We started, and I'll start with the basic agents, and then I'll start to show the real ones who are interested, because we don't have a lot of time here, Jason. So we'll start with the basic ones, but that will lead us through a funnel. And that's how we built our entire AI agents. Accidentally, it's like basically a funnel if you look at it from a go-to-market perspective. So like top of the funnel, I have Shakespeare, who helps me kind of, write posts. Basically, the first bottleneck was, okay, I need to write all these posts on LinkedIn. It takes me 4 hours to write an amazing post. So we didn't use an AI agent to automate that so I can just blast away 30 posts every week. Shakespeare is an extension of my mind where I work with Shakespeare to take that 4 hours, reduce it to 30 minutes, and generate amazing output. It has access to research online and back, my content with data. It has access to all of my previous posts. It has, hook guides that I've built on how to write a great hook and how to structure a post, etc. It has all this knowledge built in. And so, it takes me 20, 30 minutes to write a post. This generates, our top of the funnel activity. That's 1.5 million impressions on LinkedIn every month. Me and Shakespeare are generating for the company. Now, if we look one step below that, and I'd love to show you actually in Slack, how does it look like? We can look at, in the funnel below the generating of the post as people interacting with the post. So I have...
Yeah, you can share your screen.
I can share. Amazing. So I have more than 15,000 engagements in over my posts every month. And so that's a huge amount of traffic to handle, basically. And so I have the observer, or the post reviewer, you can call it, that monitors all of my posts and basically finds, interesting, relevant interactions from hot ICP leads and surface it up to me in Slack. And that's a core principle in our design philosophy, is that we try to push everything into Slack so we can have like an operating center for all of our agents, and we can work with them in the same space. So if you're looking at my screen, you can see that the post reviewer tells me I've done reviewing the last interactions from this post, basically about how I talked with 3 Series A founders who are closing their business because they couldn't get to Series B because they're going for the old playbook of the unicorn playbook. And it found 14 new interactions, only 2 were relevant. I can go into the thread here and I can see what happened. So it said, okay, the first one is by Kartik, their founder and GTM advisor at Expedite. It will explain to me why they are a qualified lead here, basically. So, they're a B2B go-to-market leader, suggests he's involved in helping companies with their go-to-market strategies. So this is an interesting prospect to reach out, because it could be both like a customer and a partner for us.
Now,
and then
how does it know what your did you feed it intel on exactly the type of qualifying things that you need, and then it's automatically reading all the comments and going and checking the LinkedIn person and qualifying them that way?
Yeah, from a technical perspective, so Swann has like a memory, which I can update all the time through Slack. I will show you in a couple of more minutes, how does that look like, the experience. Okay. But Swann has a memory and understanding of my business, and it has, definitions of different segments. Each segment is a different, ICP basically that we're reaching out to. From a technical perspective, whenever I launch a post, the post reviewer gets triggered, and in a cadence of 30 minutes, go over the new interactions that I have on my post, enriches it with third-party data and my CRM, and understand if it's qualified. And then if it is, it surfaces it here in Slack. These are 2 relevant leads from 42 interactions it went over. And it will explain why it is qualified, but it will also tell me the comment that they made here. And it will only surface substantial, that comments with substance that are really interesting here. So this is a very long comment that, suggests really interest from from Kartik. And additionally to that, it will surface the latest 5 comments that prospect had on LinkedIn that might be relevant for my outreach. So you can actually look at, there's a shift in funding strategies, innovation marketing roles and AI impact, AI roles and B2B marketing experiments. So I can see that this prospects have a lot of interest in AI and B2B marketing. And so I can reach out to them from that angle, basically. And so my next step here will be to reach out to Kartik on LinkedIn with the unique context that I have here. So it's not about automating something here away. It's more about giving me amazing context and my fingerprints straight into Slack so I can act on it immediately.
That's incredible. So just from a content marketing perspective and the amount of time that it would take for you to go in and do the research on every single one of these people and then go dig up something relevant that you could use to direct message them. So is that kind of the strategy that you guys are using right now? Like, how are you marketing Swann? Is it through organic content like this?
Yeah. So, we are growing ultra fast with zero marketing spend and zero SDRs. It's all about organic growth. Our main driver of growth is content, and specifically founder-led content, where I post on LinkedIn and get a lot of traffic there. And our entire agent strategy is built around that. So we've seen the Observer, which goes over the 15,000 interactions every month. But then we also have the connector. I get around 300 connection requests each day, right? So if you look at today, it goes over the invite reviewer or the connector. It goes over my connections and it say, okay, I found 96 new invites. 15 were relevant. I accepted all 96, but I sent 15 DMs. So to the hot relevant leads, it will already initiate a first outreach to them. And then I can only get into it whenever there's a reply, right? So I can go into the thread here. I can see, okay, Jonathan, he's the founder and CEO. Amir Dor, he's a GTM lead at Shift Security, etc. So all these, hot leads are sending me connection requests. It's a great opportunity to open a conversation and qualify them and understand if they have any, a need for a solution like Swann.
That's shocking to me how effective that is for you, because I saw a post from you from yesterday on LinkedIn, and it said you just hit, and shout out to Mercedes over at Motion for sending this to me because it's awesome, 120% monthly recurring revenue growth for 3 consecutive months, and that's all through organic LinkedIn traffic and follow-up.
Correct.
Zero ad spend.
Zero
Holy
ad spend.
Smokes.
Yeah, what we have basically, which really goes to our favor, is a viral product, which people love telling about, other people, and that's super important for hyper growth. But we also have a viral story, which I tell about on LinkedIn and on other places, podcasts like this. And that combination of, a viral product with a viral story can create, exponential growth with zero budget.
Yeah. No, that's incredible. So is the AI, the agent that you're working with, is it actually handling the content? Like, I know you said that it's a collaboration between you and the agent, but are you starting out with some sort of baseline, and then the AI is helping you come up with the post? Like, what does that process look like with that collaboration?
So I can actually show it pretty quickly here. So it's actually in GPT. I built a specific GPT. It has files in it. It has specific instructions to it. It can search online and things like that. And basically the way that I work with it, and we can jump in here into an example. You can look at unicorns to zombiecorns, basically. So the way that I work with it is I write a stream of thought here. I just blast it with, just random thoughts here about what I want to write about, how the unicorn playbook is dead, and how most of the unicorns are actually zombiecorns, which are about to either get shut down in 2026 or get sold to pieces. And the Shakespeare has, built-in instructions on, okay, let's start with high-level strategic thinking. What we'll do basically is it will reply back with some strategic thoughts, etc. And we will actually, think together about it. Then it will suggest two narratives that we can have. So, okay, let's look at it from the rise of zombie corns. That's one way to look at it. And the second is actually the liquidity trap. That is from, they raised too much and now, they can't do it. So there's like two different angles to actually look at that story. We choose one. Then it performs research and tells me about, VC investment data for 2010 to 2015 and then 2019 to 2024, et cetera. So I can back it with real numbers, et cetera. And then, okay, we start working on, different angles for it. And so it's a very collaborative process, basically. I can tell, 2-1 is amazing. Number 2 is amazing. Let's continue. Now let's share who are the victims of that Ponzi, suggest 3 options. So it's more like I have a pen pal here rather than something that is automating a specific work.
Okay, gang, quick break to tell you about our sponsor for the show, Motion. Listen, if your calendar resembles a Jackson Pollock painting and you find yourself constantly falling behind schedule, you need to try Motion. It's the AI-powered super app that rebuilds your workday in real time. Motion pulls every task, every project, every meeting into one place and then prioritizes and time blocks your calendar so you always know exactly what to tackle next. It's kind of like having a project manager and a personal assistant and, an air traffic controller all rolled into one. And the results? Well, teams tend to finish work twice as fast with 90% fewer check-ins, emails, and meetings, which, let's face it, it's something we can all afford to avoid. And because Motion predicts delays before they happen, you can course correct in days instead of hours before a deadline. Now, I've swapped my patchwork of calendars, task apps, and sticky notes for Motion, and I have never been happier. So click the link in the description to try Motion for free today and start turning chaos into calm. Now, back to the show. How much is, I guess that goes to another question that I have, is as you guys were building out Swann, clearly you're using like ChatGPT and an interaction back and forth with them. How much of Swann did you actually build from the ground up versus how much of it is actually pulled from maybe are there any other off-the-shelf tools that you used other than like ChatGPT or Claude?
So Swann specifically is the agent that we sell is pretty custom built, and we have a crazy CTO who can single-handedly build software that is used by hundreds of businesses, and so that is our product. But internally we use no low-code tools basically to build these agents. It's not like we try to build them in code or anything like that. We use NA10 and Make, and we connect it to Unipile, which is LinkedIn automation, and we connect it to our B2B data, and we are a compounding effect here is that we're building tools that all of the agents can use. So for example, if once we've built a research tool, we have a research tool that uses Perplexity API and go and research online. Now all of our agents can have access to this research tool because it's like a component that they can use. For example, if you have a CRM tool that can go into our CRM and search for relevant information, that all of our agents can now use it. And I think an amazing opportunity here to actually show a super powerful agent will be here next. Jason, do we have more time to share more agents? What do we think about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm digging this. Let's go deeper.
Awesome. Let's go deeper. So now we're actually going to see some real agentic action. These will be like a very jaw-dropping interactions that only a real agent can do. So these are like Slack notification here. For example, we have an agent that monitors all of our inbound demo requests, right? So we have like a request access form on our website, and we get like 2,000 requests each month, and that's a lot of traffic to handle. And just a stupid automation would lose a lot of money on the floor here, and we can see like in a great example here. So Swann told me, look, there's a high priority here. Let's go into it specifically. So there's a high priority. I need to take a look at it. The CEO of TechWolf just submitted a free trial request today. It's the same day as my keynote in their AI Day event. So TechWolf actually had an AI Day event. They invited me to talk in that conference, and their CEO, landed on our free trial the same day. It says this is an exceptional timing and shows high intent from your speaking engagement. These are the details, and the context is that TechWolf is the company hosting your keynote today. There's this CEO submission suggests immediate buying interest. triggered by your presentation. And so, the agent was able to connect, information from our CRM to LinkedIn exchanges with the TechWolf domain, because someone else on the TechWolf team has talked to me and invited me to that conference. It was able to connect from the dates that this is the same date actually that, that in the email correspondence they mentioned of, the date of the conference. So it was able to connect the dots here and tell me that this is an amazing opportunity to reach out to a free trial lead.
That I'm without words on, because I can see 100 different use cases for this other than other than what you just showed me. But how is it building? How is it building in the, so it's connected to obviously a calendar. It's connected to, it knows who the company is. Are you feeding it all of that, or is there some sort of reservoir of information that it's drawing from?
Yeah. So, I'll pause here for a second from sharing my screen, because this is an important question. Jason, we'll get back to the next agent. I hope that we have more time, because I've built it in a way, the presentation, that the next agent will be much more powerful than the previous one. So we're going to see more powerful agents than what you just saw, basically. But you ask, how are we doing it? And what people don't get right now is that this concept of AI agent is really gets thrown away in a very, a reluctant way. People don't really know what is an AI agent, but they call something an AI agent. Everybody wants to call their tool an AI agent today. It's very sexy, but people don't know what is an AI agent. So it's very easy to say, yeah, we have an AI agent, right? Because investors love it. Buyers want to say, I'm using an AI agent, but no one really knows what it is. So let's first of all break the myth. What is an AI agent and what is not an AI agent? And it relates to your question of like how the agent that we saw actually did it. Okay. What that context synthesization, basically. So AI automation, it's not an AI agent. What does that mean? An AI automation is a predetermined sequence of steps that, if you're familiar with no-code platforms like Make or Zapier, things like that, you could always build, no-code automation, automated workflows where code decides when to move on to the next step. And so an AI automation, which is 99% of what you call an AI agent today mostly, is just the fact that there is an automated sequence of steps, and one of those steps, it's an API call to a large language model, meaning that at a specific point of time, we need to use intelligence. So the code decides, yeah, this is step number 3. In my code base, it says that at step number 3, I need to send this prompt to ChatGPT and get back a response. This is an AI automation, okay? An AI agent flips the power balance, where the code doesn't control which is the next step. The AI controls which is the next step. It's the large language model, ChatGPT, thinks and decides, should I use step 1? Maybe I'll use step 5 instead of step 2. I can use step 3. It doesn't matter. If we look at, the example of what we've seen right now in one of the agents. So when you look at just surfacing a lead from, that requested free trial, the fact that it saw that there's a free trial, it went to the email correspondence and realized that there's kind of like a substantial correspondence there. It can change the entire course of action right now on what to do, right? And so it decided that based on that email correspondence, it will take a different step. It can research online, understand the things about the conference, enrich it, and then get back to me with that additional data. It's not like check email, check CRM, check this, except repeatedly. The agent has the agency to use the tools however they see fit. And so when you're really using AI agents, you get that superpower of synthesizing context from different data sources in a very powerful way. And we're going to take a look at another agent next, Jason, if we have more time for that.
Yeah, we do. Let me ask you a question first before we jump into that. I've done a little bit of not coding, but a little bit of AI agent building inside of, say, N8N. And it was something very simple. I connected it instead of to Slack to Telegram, and basically built, and I provided it a Superbase reservoir of a bunch of my training materials and content that I've used in order to help facilitate it doing functions for me. It's connected to my calendar, it's connected to my email, and it can do very basic functions. How realistic is it for someone to be able to recreate what you guys are doing at Swann in something like, and if they have some developer skill, or maybe even zero, and to go in there and sort of figure out how to build something small like that to facilitate it if they're trying to get involved, trying to get started in building their own stuff?
Yeah. So the good thing about the AI revolution is that you don't need any AI knowledge or AI skills to hop on that wave. Okay? It doesn't have any relation to understanding prompting or LLMs or fine-tuning or all this stuff. You don't need that knowledge to be an amazing super player in the AI game inside of your business. What you do need is no/low code skills. Okay? So if you have it already and you've played with NA10, Make or Zapier or whatever, then you're that superhero. That's it. You won. All you need is to start building, start playing, start testing, start iterating, connect things, and make mistakes. And you'll see the thing about AI is that since the invention of the fire, basically, this is the most intuitive technology that mankind has ever invented. So fire was very simple, right? Oh, it warms me. That's great. I know how to use it. I can just, put my hands close to it and I get warm, right? But since then, there's never been something more intuitive than AI. It speaks, writes like us. It thinks similar to how we think in a way. And so you can just understand how to use it as you grow. You can develop that muscle by building your no-low code muscle. And if you don't have that knowledge, what I did is I built actually an agent that can teach non-techies basically how to build their first AI agent. So add me on LinkedIn and send me a DM. I'll send you access to that free agent and it will take you through that first step.
That's really great. So that leads me to my next question. If it is possible and people can go in, like I have no coding experience. I can't write a stitch of it. I basically went and looked up how to put the JSON in the right places and stuff and kind of learned online and I spent maybe a week kind of working on building out this little thing, and it works relatively well. I just wanted to see if it would work. But where is the protective moat? So in that same post, we set it up this way. In the same post, you said, here's the brutal truth, talking about smaller startups versus really large companies. They can out-engineer you, they can out-market you, they can outsell you, they can out-hire you. The only thing they can't do is make decisions faster than you. And then at the bottom you say, that's your only real competitive moat. How fast can you identify what's not working and how quickly can you pivot? That I totally get. That is totally logical to me. That's how disruption happens, is slower companies like IBM can't pivot as fast. Blockbuster doesn't make the choice to go online and it destroys their business, right? But what about for startups and small companies that are competing in this sort of AI race and building? Where's the competitive moat? Like for you guys, how do you protect yourselves from other companies just standing up similar products and competing against you?
Yeah. So, we believe that the moat is what we call it actually acceleration as a moat. Okay, that's the business model actually of an autonomous business. It has this acceleration as a moat built into it. So if you're hopping on the autonomous business wave, you're one of the first. And if you're building your business with human AI collaboration at the core of it, what you're actually enjoying is that every revolution, every major step in the LLM layer, your business gets accelerated automatically. Okay. So if your entire business, their entire operating system of your business is built around human AI collaboration fundamentally, every process has human AI collaboration into it, then if ChatGPT and OpenAI, releases a new model that is smarter, then, your support, responses to your customers are more accurate, right? Your onboarding process gets better. So, your conversion rates get higher, right? The way that you do outreach and generate pipeline gets better, right? If there's an improvement in latency, for example, in the model layer, then your support queries are faster. You get to your customers faster, right? Onboarding faster time to value, right? More pipeline faster, right? If you look at an improvement in cost, basically, if a model gets an improvement in cost, your entire business becomes much more efficient. Same resources can generate more output right now, right? And so an autonomous business has this acceleration as a mode built into it only if you really build from the ground up your entire operating system around that human AI collaboration notion.
So if I understand what you said, to kind of condense that down, what you're really saying is because we're ahead and we're building, and because we are small and we are nimble, every advancement in the technology will be able to pivot faster and we'll be able to iterate faster. Is that what you're saying?
Almost, and that's on me, Jason. So core philosophy of an autonomous business is about scaling with intelligence, not with headcount. Okay. So if you've really designed your business and your processes with human AI collaboration to it, right? So, and your scale is derived from intelligence, not from headcount. If you reshaped your business around that, then an advancement in an LLM creates that acceleration. So it's only if you really adopt that mindset of, building AI around humans. If you really adopted that mindset that you can hire more bodies to solve a scaling challenge, you need to use intelligence to do it. If you redesigned your processes around this new concept of human AI collaboration, you redesigned them from the ground up, only if you did that, then you can enjoy that acceleration as a mode in contrast to businesses that don't hop on that wave.
I got it. Okay, I understand now. And that makes total sense based on the philosophy that we talked about at the very beginning of the episode. So, all right, show me something else. Show me another use case.
Yeah, so I'd love to show you my favorite agent, basically. So, and I think that will really ties into what is the difference between an AI automation and a truly AI agent. And that will really kind of help you understand. We have Ezra. Okay, Ezra is our executive assistant, basically. So I did 5 back-to-back calls before this session, and I did 10 today already, or 11, I don't remember. And I don't have time to prep for calls, so I have Ezra, which helps me run my schedule and prep for calls and things like that. So would love to actually share that and take a look at Ezra. Ezra has context into my calendar, of course, but also my CRM, my email, and of course, researching online. So it will tell me, if you're looking at the screen, okay, so, Thursday marathon, you have deep session, 6 back-to-back meetings, etc. For every meeting, it will tell me, it will give me a short summary on it. Let's take a look at what it did. At 7, I have AI in Motion podcast interview. So let's take a look here. What Ezra told me. So it says, okay, this is a podcast interview with Jason Stapleton, serial entrepreneur and host of AI in Motion podcast to discuss Swann's autonomous business vision and practical AI applications. We have the attendees here. The focus on Jason, he runs multiple ventures, including trading education, business coaching, and the Nomad Network. The main ICP. So Jason, is really focused on entrepreneurs and business professionals looking to transition to digital business and implement AI and automation in their operations. Other research findings. So Jason has a strong track record with trade empowerment and the Jason Stapleton program podcast, et cetera, et cetera. So I got all this extensive research, which is super interesting. But then, then it gets
pretty close, by the way. Yeah, they kind of touched on everything over the last 15 years or so. So that's pretty good.
So just before we started the pod, even I think maybe at the first minute, I actually told Ezra, find 2 unique, unexpected nuggets about that I can use to highlight during the pod. Right. So I copy pasted from another message. I said 2 unique unexpected nuggets about Guy. So who is Guy here? Okay, so this is actually an agent, and you've seen that this is not an automation. So instead of actually sending Ezra to try to find insights about Guy, Ezra can make a decision and say, you know what, hey Amos, quick clarification. You mentioned finding nuggets about Guy, but your upcoming podcast is with Jason. Did you mean Jason? So sorry, I meant Jason. So what will happen now, and I hope that it will be prepared. I didn't have time even to look at it. But what will happen now is Ezra will tell me, yeah, I'm looking at it. Okay, she will react to me with eyes. You say, I'm on my way. And what Ezra will do right now is it will go and research Jason, and we'll try to find 2 unique, unexpected nuggets about them that I can use to highlight during the pod, basically. And so that might take a couple of minutes to actually see that. So
I want to see what it comes up with. These interesting nuggets about me that you can sort of like make a connection with.
Yeah, let's see. I don't know. That's the idea. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But that's that's important because, Jason, that's the thing about agents, right? Ezra has the agency to translate my request into whatever she see fit, right? So here you say, got you covered. Here are 2 unexpected nuggets about Jason that'll make great. So, private military contractor in Afghanistan. Is that correct, Jason? Before becoming an entrepreneur, Jason worked as a private military contractor. This gives him a totally unique POV on geopolitics and risk management that most business podcasters don't have. Could be a fascinating angle to explore how that experience shaped his approach to business strategy. Interesting.
That's 100% correct. I had 5 years in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Respect, Jason. A lot of respect. I love it. Another thing is you are a film producer, side hustle. He's also involved in film production, notably work on the Tesla Files documentary. Is that true, Jason?
That's true. They got that a little wrong. So I was on a TV show for the History Channel called The Tesla Files, and I also produced a film about the immigration crisis in Greece that was happening as people were flooding out of the Middle East into places like Greece, and I funded a documentary for that.
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah,
so
Ezra.
Cool. Ezra thought that this creative side could be interesting to tie into how he thinks about storytelling in business or content creation. Both of these are way off the beaten path from typical entrepreneur background. Should definitely catch him and your audience off guard in a good way. Thank you, Ezra.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I need to do that. So when I prep for a guest, I just use a ChatGPT and I use a custom prompt that I have that says, break it down. These are all the things I want to know. And we do a little deep research on that. But coming up with mine's really long and like pages and pages and pages long. And I kind of go through. That's a really quick way to sort of like engage with somebody before a meeting that you may not have a lot of background on, and you're trying to figure out a way to connect. I can see it like with a sales call. You're going to talk with somebody and you're trying to find a unique angle where you can create some connection or talk about something that's interesting to them. Tons of use cases for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, just wanted to double down on that sales use case because, if you're building an automation, you'll need to try to build kind of like a business logic that says, if it's a sales call, I don't know if go and check in the CRM. If it's a sales call, this is what steps you need to do. If it doesn't exist in the CRM, this is what you need to do. An agent can just look at a sales call, and I can just tell, you know what, Ezra, if you're looking at a sales call, and she can figure it out from just the context, go and look at our customer list and find the most relevant customers that I can mention on the call, for example. Right. So Ezra does that. Ezra tells me, whenever I have a demo, she tells me, you know what, these 2 companies actually fit well because X, Y, Z. Right. And I didn't build it in a super complicated decision tree. I just told Ezra to do it.
I am looking at this. I listen. I'm not speechless very often, and I'm not trying to blow smoke, but this is the future, right? This is where business is going. And it's just a question of whether or not you build these internally or you start buying some off-the-shelf thing, like maybe including like bringing Swann into your business so you just don't have to worry about it. But what I love about the concept of this is I'm not buying a solution and then trying to find a way, as you said, to wrap it around my business. I'm literally buying something that is going to that's going to partner in my business, that is going to adapt with and to be specific to me, not as a general tool. Is that where you see everything going? All tools, all apps, all software is going to be some form of what you sort of designed here at Swann?
Yeah, so we believe that we're moving towards that. There's an app for me phase, right? So every business will have a tech stack that kind of like bends around perfectly their unique DNA. And so the logical conclusion here, Jason, we talked about mode and differentiation and things like that. And so in a world where software can bend around you in a perfect way, your only mode there is not your tech stack, it's your human stack, right? It's your human talent. It's your DNA of your business. If you have an amazing DNA, you have amazing talent, and you have some unique observations on your market that no one else does, then your tech stack could take that and 100x that, right? But if you're just, you're a business that lacks the understanding, lacks the talent, lacks etc. And all you do is try to invest in tooling, not in the humans that in your business, then eventually you lose.
That may be the most important thing that we've talked about today, is just the importance of hiring well and really and then empowering those people to be more productive and to be more useful than they could otherwise be. So kind of to close things out, I'm just curious. Inside, you said you have 3 founders at Swann, no employees. How does that break down? You said you're the go-to-market guy. Is somebody else on developer, somebody else on support or operations?
Yeah, so I do go-to-market and growth, right? Demand and sales, everything. Then we have Ido Goldberg, who's the chief product. He's like the product person, and he's like an amazing no low-code builder who can build these crazy AI agents in seconds, but has also this technical ability to work with the CTO and kind of like, ping pong. He's kind of like reinvented the entire, product spec flow and how do you kind of like design products, etc. when you use AI agents in a collaborative way. And then we have Neve Oppenheim, the CTO, basically, who is that 100x unicorn engineer, basically, that can write code and spin up infrastructure, DevOps, work with the LLMs, etc. He can do basically everything, the jack of all trade of developers.
Nice. Very cool. Well, where does everybody go? It's getswann.com. Is that they go to check out what you got going on? So getswann.com, that's where you can find us. I'm on LinkedIn, Amos Bar Joseph. You can find me there. I also have a newsletter called The Big Shift on Beehive. So if you want to get kind of like a sneak peek into how we're building our autonomous business and get kind of like a front seat to our wins and losses and playbooks, so you can get just that delivered to your inbox. That's pretty awesome. Well, Amos, thank you so much for being on the show. This is a fascinating conversation. I know everybody's going to love it. And I just appreciate the conversation. It was really inspiring and informative to me.
Me too, man. It was a super pleasure. Thank you so much, Jason.
And all right, y'all, that's our show. Thanks so much. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, let everybody know. Not only does it make me super happy and make me feel good, but also it means I get to keep doing this show, which I absolutely love doing. And listen, if anything that you watched today got you excited about how to start deploying AI in your company, but you're just a little nervous about the technical stuff and you want a really low risk, easy way to start easing into the process, then I want you to check out Motion. It is an amazing app that combines AI agents, calendars, project management, and team collaboration all under one roof. It is going to help save you time. It's going to save you frustration. It's going to clean up your calendar. It's going to improve the productivity of your entire team. And the best part is you can get a free trial for free. Take in the link in the description. So go ahead and click on that. Go and download yourself a free trial, and I will talk to you all very soon.